Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Inside Sheet. I'm your host, DJ Brooks. You can find me on all the social medias if you just type in DJ Brooks Comedy, because I do stand-up comedy. I know it sounds weird. I used to be a curler. I used to be good. Not anymore. Got old. I'm not like Lisa Weagle good. And Lisa Weagle is our guest today. Remember, if you guys have any questions that you want sent in, because that's what this show is. This show is about your questions and me asking them to our curlers. Or if you don't want me to ask it, you want to ask it yourself, send in the video. You'll see in today's episode, we got a few good videos sent in. So just send it in. All the information's down below here. All the contact information's below. But enough of me. Let's get to Lisa Weagle. Weagle. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi. Happy quarantine.
Happy quarantine to you.
How are you dealing with it?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's all very strange, but kind of making the most of it.
It's all we can do, right? Like, you just got to do weird stuff. You work from home, you train from home. I mean, we're going to get into it, but you know, with your new team being kind of all over, I guess you guys would have been doing online stuff anyways, right?
Yeah, it's kind of strange I've been on this team since March and we haven't gotten together. So Really looking forward to when that happens. But yeah, we're doing a lot of this, the video calls and texting and phone calls and making the most of it.
We were talking, my family was talking last week, and we were like, can you imagine what this would have been like without Skype or Zoom? Like, what would our kids have done at school? How would I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. And now, and you know, we always said technology was going to be the death of us, but it's the only thing keeping us together right now.
Yeah, especially having to stay home and be isolated to keep everyone else healthy. I think social interaction is still keeping us kind of mentally healthy and sane. So to be able to have video calls and technology is kind of a lifeline for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And then like if you're bored at home, you can like watch the Inside Sheet on YouTube, right? Like that's a thing you can do. So you're one of the first that we've done this with. So I'll just go over it real quick with you. I've got a bunch of questions from some kids around Ontario, a few little videos we're going to show you with some questions, and just being, you know, one of the best front end curlers ever. You have the expertise to answer these.
I hope so. Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, we're gonna start with one of these videos here.
Hi, I'm Clara, and I curl at the Glanford Curling Club. And my question is, what do you suggest for me to do in the summer to practice for curling in the winter?
Good question. Well, there's lots of things you can do to prepare in the summer. Whether there's COVID or not, I'm sure lots of players and teams are doing a lot of different things. A big one is fitness. And I think we've seen, you're not really into that. I think we've seen like a lot of different kind of things online, apps you can use, lots of free resources, and lots of things you can do at home with just body weight or very minimal equipment. So that would be one, especially as a sweeper, front ender. That's something that you want to spend some time on. You could also watch some game tape, go back and watch some videos. There's a lot of them available online as well. And you can watch some of the top teams and see what they're doing and see how you can incorporate some of that into your own game. And then there's lots of resources like this. There's interviews, there's ways that you can connect with teams on social media. I know a lot of athletes have been doing curling takeovers and just opportunities for people to ask questions, reach out to athletes and learn a little bit more.
Do you, when you go and watch a game, do you watch like you, or do you watch other teams? And if you watch you, do you watch like the good ones or the bad ones?
A bit of both. I've definitely watched video in the past looking for different things like communication or strategy. And then also just, I love watching curling. So watching some of the top teams. I've also watched some classic curling.
Oh my God,
like old school.
Yeah.
Like Marilyn Bodo, Anne Merklinger, like all these top old Ontario players that it's fun to watch some of the classic stuff too.
What's your favorite shot of all time?
That's a good question.
Oh, come on.
Probably like Sandra Schmirler's like
the in-off
shot. Yeah.
That's exactly what she's picked out.
Whoa!
What a shot for three! What a great.
Mine's Guy Hemmings at the Briar in like 97, I think. No?
Which shot?
He just draws the pin, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
against like Saskatchewan, but it like curling was different then. Like drawing the pin the way he did, like didn't just like you would be expected to make that shot now, but
Mm-hmm.
and then his reaction and the way he freaked out, it was, I don't know.
Yeah, he is a showman.
Have the pin.
Should be good. Oh, looks like lots. Oh, line. Good. Oh, it's lots. Whoa, that's good. Whoa, that's good.
I also feel like I'm a little older than you, so my age
I
is
don't
showing.
think by much. No.
My age is showing. No, just a few years. It's all good. But we all have those shots, right? Like I think, like, or those moments when you grew up watching curling that you were like, oh, like I love this, like whatever that moment was, or however it came to be. But it was like curling was your sport. And then seeing someone you looked up to do something that you thought was incredible, because in Little Rocks, hitting the 8-foot was incredible, right? So seeing someone make an amazing shot, you're like, oh my God.
Well, I remember when Jennifer Jones made her in-off.
Yeah.
It was against Jen Hanna, who was a member of my club.
Yeah.
So I think I was at the club watching it happen, and was obviously cheering for Jen Hanna as my club mate. But yeah, pretty amazing shots that just want to make you get out there and be a part of it.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because these are people you know or you've seen. I remember like going to a spiel and John Morris was there, and that's when he was like destroying junior curling. I was like, oh my God, like why am I here? Like I'm not good enough for this, right? And so that's part of the sport you love. It's that small community type feel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then,
absolutely.
so on that note, right? So obviously you're on a new team now since March, you said, but because the curling community is so small, it's not like, I don't know, it like, you know, the people you're going to play with.
Yeah, I do. But it's really different when you're competitors versus teammates. So yeah, it's been really fun kind of getting to know everyone on a different level and getting to see where I fit on this team and kind of developing those friendships with people that I've known, but not the way that I do now and the way that I will as we continue as teammates.
Yeah, there's always that growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get back to some of the questions here from some of the kids. Let's go with Rebecca, 18 years old from Oakville and the Oakville Curling Club. How are you staying motivated to train when it feels like there will be no curling season this year?
I hope there's a curling season.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are trying really hard to make it happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. Like usually by now I'd probably be on the ice or on the ice very soon and would have a plan of what my whole season's going to look like. And there's really none of that right now, a lot of uncertainty. So for me, my motivation, part of it is being part of a new team and just having that new energy and some excitement around that. But for me, it's about being as prepared as possible whenever that time comes to play. So that's what's driving me right now, and using the time to focus on some things that maybe I didn't have time for in the past. Having this kind of break away from the ice, I think will just make everyone that much more grateful and excited when we finally do get back.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like they say, you know, one of these phrases they say, right? Decisions are made by those who are present, or it's kind of along those lines, just being ready to take advantage of opportunities, right? So those that are prepared once, you know, the fingers are snapped and you get to play. Those that are more prepared and took more from this time off are going to be the teams that are successful, right?
I think so. I think it is whatever you make it. And so I know I don't control the situation right now in the world, but I do control how I react to it and what I do with this time.
I don't know if this is the same for you, but I do stand-up comedy as well. So
I don't do that.
no, yeah. It's a different thing. But so just last night, for the first time since March 13th, I went to a comedy club. Full masks. They were only allowed 50 people in. It seats like 150 or something. But just seeing everybody was amazing. Like I'm sure you've kind of, as a curler, you're probably feeling that way too. Like you just want to get to those spiels because you just want to see everybody too.
Yeah, 100%. I really miss my friends in the curling community, and especially just really want to see my team.
Well, your new team, right? Yeah. You want to like get to know them on that more personal level.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can do over Zoom, but we're trying.
Yeah. And do you feel like because competitive curling, there's a lot of ups and downs, there's emotional any sport, there's those emotional moments. So you have to kind of grow those relationships to be able to handle those, right?
Yeah, and I think adversity makes you stronger and brings you closer together. And we're already starting with a little bit. So I think that's just going to make us even tougher and make whatever curling season we get that much sweeter for us.
Yeah, hopefully longer.
Mm-hmm.
Long season, big season. All right, let's get to some more fan questions here. This is from Hannah. She's 9 years old in Barrie in the Stroud Curling Club. What was your favorite part of curling when you were in Little Rocks?
Good question. I was 8 when I started, so around Hannah's age. Yeah, I really loved the hot chocolate and the Timbits, I gotta say.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you're 8 years old, that's your priority, I think. But I don't know. I just loved everything about curling. It's just something that really clicked once I started playing it. And for me, it always just felt like a place where I was comfortable and like I belonged. And I didn't always feel that way in school. I was pretty shy and kind of felt like I didn't fit in all the time. But with curling, it just seemed like this great community. I had these great friends that we were all really different, but we all loved curling. I don't know if that was your experience kind of as a curler yourself, but
similar but different. I started here. This interview's not about me, but whatever. I started curling when I was 12 years old because I moved from Mississauga to Orangeville, and I had always loved curling. Like I watched it on TV, but none of my family curls. Like no one in my family curls. But I just loved watching it. My parents had no idea what was going on, and then we moved to this small town, and I was like, I don't know anyone anyways. They can't make fun of me, so I'm going to try it. And I just fell in love with it, right? Like, did your parents curl? Is that how you started?
Not really. Like my grandparents had curled, but my parents actually joined the club the year before I did. They joined a mixed league and they were looking for a sport to play together. And my mom had curled a bit when she was younger, like in high school. And they really liked it. And then they signed me up for the Little Rock program. And so that was kind of how that happened. And then our family was like all in on curling. My parents took their coaching certification and we were at the club all the time. My dad got involved with the board. Like it just kind of became this all encompassing thing that we all just were really passionate about.
That's awesome, right? To have the support. Like when you find something you love, it's nice that everyone can jump on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get to another video here. We got another one.
My name's Kelsey. I'm 14 years old and I curl out of the Elora Curling Club. This is a question for Lisa Weagle. So what have you done to fit in and learn how to communicate with your new team? And what should a new U18 team do when we're in that same situation?
Good question. For me, it's been interesting because I'm coming into a really established team. So being the new player on a team that already exists can sometimes be a little bit intimidating, but luckily I kind of already know them. So a lot of it is just talking, getting to know each other, seeing where I fit in on the team, and also remembering that they brought me in the team for a reason. So making sure that I'm just like being myself, feeling comfortable to share and give my opinions. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to make the team better. So I think that it's exciting when you're having or joining a new team, and being able to do some team building. I guess we all have to do it online right now, but I think that communication part is probably the most important thing, is sharing and getting to know each other.
That must be hard too, though, right? Because like you were on one of the best teams in the world, and then you're going to one of the other best teams in the world. And so you have to find that fine line of, yes, I can bring what I've done in the past and what we've done in the past and help make this team better. But also they've done a lot of things that they do that makes them very good, right? So it's you got to find that perfect mixture.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Everyone's been super open, and I want to know what makes them tick, and they want to know things that I've done that have made me and my team, my former team, so successful. So I think there's a lot of openness to just sharing information, and then let's figure out what the best way is and what this new Team Jones approach is going to be.
So are you, because you work in communications, I know that's a different thing, but is communication like big for you?
Yeah, well, I think communication is so important for curling. There's just, a small team for, in our case, 5 players. So communication is essential to the functioning of a good team.
Absolutely, right? Like I'm pretty sure I learned how to play euchre just because of curling, right? Like at curling clubs between games, like you've got to find things to do with each other, but you spend so much time with the same people. Like if you don't have to love somebody, but if you can't communicate with them, it's gonna go bad, right?
Yeah, well, and you're trying to perform at the highest level. And I think part of being a good functioning team is really understanding each other, what makes everyone tick. What does someone need? How can I bring out the best in my teammates? What do I say if someone's having a bad game? So, I mean, these are a lot of things that we can share right now in a conversation, but some of it you only really figure out when you're out on the ice together and you're going through those difficult moments.
Oh, for sure. And some of it's just knowing the other person, don't you think? Like I can say right now, like if I miss a shot, don't say it's okay or whatever. But then sometimes you can just read the body language of the person and you know what they want. It's not every situation's the exact same, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's just kind of going through those situations and asking questions and being open to hearing whatever the answer might be, and being able to give an honest answer when you're asked.
Yeah, that's so hard, is being open to take it as well as give it. So
Yeah.
you're just it's like a marriage with 4 other people, right? Like
Yeah, it's complicated.
yeah.
Very complicated relationship.
Yeah, my one wife's enough. That's fine. All right, let's get to some more questions. London here, 11 years old, from Canada, and the Huntley Curling Club. What is the best strategy to draw to the button?
That's a good question. Does she mean like in practice when you're drawing for hammer?
Oh, maybe. That could be too.
That was maybe how I understood it, but I'm not really sure. I think probably the best way to do it is practice it a lot so you're comfortable with it when the time comes. And use your sweepers a little bit. Don't be heavy.
And that's what my coach always said, right? Like if you're throwing by yourself, never draw to the button. Draw top 8, right? I mean, I'm not as good as you, and your coaches were better. So actually, it might not be the coach; it could just be the athlete.
No, I think like I'm always trying to, when I'm throwing practice shots, like if I'm trying to think T-line weight, I'm throwing kind of a tight top 12.
Yeah.
So I know my sweepers are good to take it to the button. You want to give them a little bit of input too.
I didn't have sweepers as good as you, so I went top 8. You have better sweepers. The one thing I did want to talk to you about, though, and I don't know if this is something you think about or recognize, or I know you just go through your day, but like you have a shot named after you. No, but that's no matter what happens in your life now in curling, like you're part of the history of curling forever, not just on a team that has won things and is in the record books, but like you got so good at something that people call it the Weegle. That's got to be cool. It just has to be cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of strange, but I don't know. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of everything that we did as part of Team Holman, and the tick shot is part of it. To be able to change the sport and not just the women's game, but the game for everybody, to have been part of that, and to the point that people are talking about changing the rule, I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's gotten to 5 rock rule or whatever, no tick shots, or they're like, yeah, they're adapting the game because you guys, well, I mean, a few teams were doing it, but you were just so good at it so early before everyone else, that your name is like, if you Google yourself or the tick shot, your name comes up. I don't know. I just think it's cool to be like immortalized in the sport you've spent so many hours in. You know that no matter what, you could, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you could win nothing else again for the rest of your life, and you still, I don't know. I just think it's super neat.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. I think everyone wants to be recognized and, you know, be excellent at whatever they're doing. So, yeah, I'm proud of it, and I don't spend a ton of time thinking about it, but yeah, when you ask questions like that, it's neat.
You should think about it more. Okay, a few more before we go here. So now that you're with Team Jones, I'm assuming, anyways, you'll be playing out of Manitoba.
Mm-hmm.
That might be weird for just wearing that different color if you get to a Scotties.
Yeah, you know what? I would really be honored to get to another Scotties, no matter what I'm wearing. And yeah, I'm very proud to be from Ontario and to have represented Ontario for as long as I have. And I'm just happy I get to continue curling at a high level. And yeah, maybe we'll be wearing a different uniform, but still equally just as proud to play and to compete.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm from Ontario. The one time I actually got to a nationals, it was when I was living in Nova Scotia. So I got to, like, my jacket that I have on the wall is in Ontario. So getting to where you want to go, the jersey doesn't necessarily matter, or where exactly you're representing doesn't matter, but just after you're doing it for so long, it's gonna be weird for that first, maybe stone or two, or maybe just practice, right? You put it on the first time, it's gonna look a little different for the fans, but as someone that's being able to play out of province, what do you think of the changes, right? Because they're, over the last few years, they've made these changes to the rules so you can have that one out of province player, and they seem to be changing it even more to try to make it the high end level more competitive.
Yeah, I think the game is changing, and to be able to compete at the highest level takes a lot. And I think that there's fewer people who are willing or able to put the time into being on a top team. And then I think that with the way the world is, like we are right now online, like people move. You don't need to be tied to a particular place, and people end up in relationships and move when maybe they didn't think they would, or you're a different person at 35 than you were at 20, and maybe your career has taken you somewhere else. So I think it's good to be able to have some flexibility, that athletes can make decisions for their personal lives, but also continue to play.
Especially in a sport like curling, where it's almost impossible to be a professional curler and that's your only job. So you have to have some flexibility to, like, live life.
I think so. And at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, which is to represent Canada, and everyone's trying to put together the best possible team they can to represent Canada. We have a really big country with a lot of great curlers across the country. So yeah, maybe you can't find the 4 best people in Ottawa, and you need to look elsewhere to put the best possible team together. But that's what everyone's trying to do at the end of the day, is try and get to the World Championships or the Olympics and be the best they can for our country.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, like you said, that's the truth of it, right? Like, everyone just wants that maple leaf. So make everyone better, push the other teams to be better, push yourself to be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We've learned
Next
so
time
much.
We'll call ahead and we'll make sure we don't match.
Yeah, I know the matching shirts is a little aggressive, but well, it is what it is, right? Oh, it's Canada. We're sporting the Canada colors.
True.
We're sporting the Canada colors. Lisa Weagle, the creator of the Weegle. Thank you so much, and good luck with your new team this year.
Thank you.